Okay, we're on. Come on, mate. There. Look, turn around. Face the camera. We can have a little play now, yeah. Where's your paw? Where's your paw? Here we are. Oh, I come. We're trying to play. Okay, all right. Good girl. Yeah, well, making me laugh anyway. Well, hello everybody. I'll put my guitar on. I'm going to talk about guitar and the difficulties of playing a guitar when you've got really short fingers. Now, I've made a few notes because, as I've said before in a previous couple of videos, when you're old you can't remember anything. So I've made notes to have a look at. So the first thing, there's not many people around that have got smaller hands than me or shorter fingers. I'd like to thank all those people that said some lovely comments about me and on the previous videos, and that's great. And there's a young lady called Carla. I'll be very honoured to be your granddad, my darling. Well, let's get on with talking about this now. That joke with the puppy didn't come off very well, but I'm just using that to try and explain that the probability of some of these, have you seen these long-fingered guitarists, beautiful long slender fingers who play the guitar, and then they have all these comments about it not being difficult, having small hands or short fingers. Well, that's ridiculous. And the probability of them really understanding the difficulty of having short fingers is about as probable as that little puppy there learning to play Sultans of Swing in a week. Well, she might be able to do it in 2 weeks because she's quite clever. So the point is, if you listen to some of the advice that you get from these long fingered guitarists, I'm afraid if you're new, just starting on the guitar, and you listen to them, you'll probably never carry on with it because they haven't got a clue. Some of them do give good advice regarding choosing a guitar, because I'm not the most knowledgeable of every guitar there is available on the market, and some guitars are bigger than others and all that sort of thing. So some of them do give a bit of a good advice about that. But I mean, I'll just comment about a few things I've read, and then we'll get on with this lesson, or this talk. This is some comments. It's just as easy to play with short fingers, playing a guitar. It's just as easy to play with short fingers. What a stupid comment. Here's another one. Short fingers, not a problem. That's bullshit. Well, he said it. Of course it's a problem. But although it's a problem to play with short fingers, you can overcome it. Just perseverance, that's what I've done. And I'm not a brilliant guitarist, but I can play it. The last one I want to mention, and I can't believe this, is somebody giving a talk on how to stretch your fingers. Stretch your fingers? Well, if I'd have known that, there's certain parts of my anatomy I'd have liked to have stretched. But I'm not going to tell you which they are. Oh, right then. My arms and my fingers and my legs. Now, what sort of planet can you be on when you can tell somebody to stretch your fingers? When they talk about this fingers and stretching, there's two ways of thinking of it. One of the ways that they talk about is the fact that stretching the overall sort of width of your fingers so that you can reach a number of strings. But that isn't the real problem. That is a problem, of course it is. But when you're trying to play chords, it's actually the length of the finger coming over the fret and reaching the bass string and trying to reach some of these difficult chords. Now, if you imagine, if you could for 1 minute, if I could try and show you with this, if you sort of put your thumb in the middle of the back of the neck and bring your fingers around like this. When you feel that they stop because the edge of the guitar goes into that recess there in your fingers. When you push your fingers around like that, and you come around like that, and place your fingers now flat on the frets, on the neck, and you can see that my fingers, even the middle one, can barely reach the bass string. Well, loads of guitarists, I look at them playing, and their fingers couldn't reach over like that. And some people can play with their thumb and almost reach all the way around. So what you have to do, you have to learn some different techniques, and you have to learn to adapt to whatever is required. So I'll try and talk you through some of these now. I've already given some of this information on previous videos, and I'd love it if you'd go back and see them, because I may miss a few things. First of all, just quickly, if you're short fingers, small hands, to me, you've got to buy a guitar with a very narrow neck. This one is a treble guitar, it's only 3/4 size, and the neck is about 41mm. Now, the choice of guitar is important, and depends on what music you want to play. But if you look at a Spanish guitar, is 3 of the strings are usually nylon. Now, it's a lot easier to play if you're a beginner. The strings don't hurt your fingers as much, but it has a much wider neck, so therefore you're going to have difficulty in reaching it. An electric guitar is, I think, easier to depress the strings, but to me, I always believe in starting on the hardest possible thing, so that if you can conquer that, then the other becomes much easier. And I mean, this is a steel string semi-acoustic guitar, and plug it into the amplifier. But also the type of guitar, I mean, this to me is an ideal guitar for a small person like me, because of its overall size and the width of the neck, and it's got a short neck as well. So choice of guitar is important, and the way you hold the guitar is important. Now you'll see that although I'm sitting down, I've still got a strap on this guitar, because I find it quite difficult, just for me personally, that to get stability of the guitar so it doesn't move around when you're trying to reach some of these difficult things, and that helps to keep the thing firm. So I always wear a strap, even if I'm sitting down. Now, another thing is, I've said this before, but just quickly, if you've got short arms as well, like me, then you find it very difficult when you get right up to the nut of the guitar. So if you tilt the guitar up a little bit, it actually shortens the distance your arm has to travel. So few things that the advantages quickly of a person with long fingers has got over a small people or people with short fingers is that when a long finger guitarist presses the strings, his fingers are hovering over the strings. They just go down on it like that. Whereas if you've got short fingers, you can't hover vertically down. You're coming at an angle like this, quite flat, and because you're coming in flat, it makes errors a lot greater, because you could touch the string next to the one you're trying to play, and so to some extent you have to be even more precise than a person who's gifted with long fingers. Now, I'm going to talk about a few. Talk about a few chords. Now, I've said this before, but I will say it. Make an effort. My strong advice is to people tell you how to play short and talk about the F chord, the bar chord, and everybody thinks bar chord. Yes, they are difficult to begin with. Once you get the hang of them, not so bad. With the F chord, I would always say try to keep practicing until you can get the full chord. Don't make it just a 3 or 4 string chord. Try and get the whole chord, which is to play, if you can see this, to use that finger. Now, with a bit of effort I can just get that finger over to the 6th string. As you can see, some people they've got that much left over, but to me now it does take a bit of it takes a bit of practice and perseverance. But when you can automatically put your hand down the F chord like that, it opens up a whole new world, because it means that you can play other chords all the way up the neck of the guitar much easier. And also, when you get better at this, much more you'll become much more eager to be able to play chords that have got more difficult parts to them, or play the tune while you're playing the chords. And if you've managed to play with a harder chord or the more difficult chord like the F chord, it just makes it so you can do the other things later on. You haven't got to relearn. Now, there's a lot of problems with playing the guitar if you're small like me, and you're short. And I mean, I've got short fingers, short arms, short legs, and you're going to say to me, well, what's short legs got to do with playing the guitar? Well, it has a lot to do with it if your wife puts your guitar up on the sideboard and you can't reach it. But mine does that all the time. There's a reason why she does it. Anyway, the other thing is that when you got small feet, the only shoes you can get are children's or kids, and it's quite embarrassing for somebody of my age to be walking about in the snow, leaving animal prints in the snow, and that probably accounts for why my dog keeps biting my leg. Now look, I'm going to talk about this one other one at the moment, a G chord. I haven't talked about too many, but first of all, I'm going to tell you several ways of playing a G chord, and I'll just show this. Like, I hope you're not, some of you know more about it than me probably, but you're playing. You can play a G chord like this, where you use your small finger, your first finger, and your middle finger. But a lot of people do it like this, which I cannot reach, and it's so annoying. But it's by playing those bottom three fingers, so that you can keep that finger free, because then you can use this finger on other things. But the angle that I'm coming in at with it, particularly with this finger, it's just killing the other string because I can't reach. So the chord, like I said, the F chord, is quite easy to move down 3 to the third one, look, and that's G using the F chord but moving it down. So there's one G, there's one G, and so that is a very difficult chord to play if you use those your second, third, and fourth finger. It's very difficult for me. So you'll see a lot of people using that, and you just have to try and. The only other way you can do it is leave the bass string out. Don't play the bass string, so you haven't got to cover it with a finger. Anyway, the other thing is, if you play, you'll hear something about slash chords. A slash chord is where you play the normal chord and then you add an additional string to it. So, for instance, a D chord. If you get the D, which is, I don't know whether you can see this very well. Those two strings, and then that one in the middle there. Sorry, right. So now, when you play such as a D with an F sharp, and it shows it on the sheet music or whatever as a D slash F sharp. Now the F sharp is this. We're on E, F sharp. So you've got to play that string there at the same time as playing a D. Now the only way you can do that is to use your thumb, or I suppose you might be able to come up with a way of playing it with a bar chord. But now you'll see quite a bit of these slash chords, and I can just about reach it, but it's just touching on the tip of my thumb. So you'll find all sorts of slash chords, and that's another difficult area where short fingers can't help. It's difficult. So I'm not going to go on too long today because it was a bit of a joke really using the dog just to try and recap a few of the things I've done in the past. But I think you've all given, people that have commented have given some lovely comments, and I'm really grateful to you. And I just want you to know that if you've got any issues you're worried about playing the guitar, and especially short fingers are an issue, just leave me a comment and I'll try and answer them and try and explain how I overcome them. Now, I did say that my dog was plucking and picking the strings, and I don't like the use of the word plucking or picking. And I tell you, I don't think I've got the courage to tell you why not at the moment. I'll maybe tell you on another video. I've got a little. I'm going to tell you one more thing about a capo. I haven't mentioned this before. It's so important. I'm sure that most people that have done a little bit of guitar know about a capo. This is a capo. And a capo is great because if you've got short arms, you haven't got to stretch to reach at the top of the guitar. You can come down here and move the chord with it. But there is difficulties with the capo with short people because you have to try and reach over the capo, and it's very difficult. And I've done a lot of searching on this, and the way I found this capo. I don't know what make it is, but what I did, I removed the rubber from it, and I got my own self-adhesive rubber strip and put that on it. And what that means is that it's not stuck on there at the moment, but what that means is when you put it over, you've got a very much smaller metal and rubber piece on the neck of the guitar, because this is instead of the knot there. So this enables you to be able to reach chords like B7. But so anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I'll just leave it a little a joke from my American friends. Talking about dogs that I had on here. What did the cowboy say when his dog fell over the cliff? Dog on. Anyway, remembering this time of the year and what it means, love and peace to you all. Have a lovely Christmas. Cheerio for now.